We're coming up on the 12th anniversary of the game, and Clash of Clans is still one of the most recognizable games out there, and it has been a key part of childhoods for hundreds of millions of people. This game contains some of the most recognizable characters out there, with two examples being the Barbarian and Hog Rider. The cultural impact of this game has been just massive, and there honestly may never be a game like it ever again. Clash of Clans was just much more than some unique and fun mobile game. It really just completely changed the gaming industry and left a bigger impact than any other game, and today we're going to be looking over what made Clash of Clans so special and why no other game can come close to achieving what Clash of Clans did. So we really need to see how everything was when Clash of Clans was first introduced, since the beginning is really the most important part. In the mobile gaming industry, a majority of the current popular games were all relatively simple runner games like Temple Run and Jetpack Joyride, or just other easily replayable and addictive games like Candy Crush. However, as we all know, Clash of Clans would really be just way more than that, and it is really what was just missing from the mobile gaming scene. On PC and console, you obviously had a ton of bigger and more complex games. However, mobile stayed really simple, and while everyone was fine with it at the time, they also just didn't realize more complex things were possible, since mobile gaming was still a fairly new concept that hadn't been explored a ton. And the most similar game to Clash of Clans was something called Backyard Monsters, and this was a Facebook browser game, and it was similar conceptually. However, it obviously looked a lot different, and it wasn't the most appealing game to a younger audience. So when Supercell made Clash of Clans, there's no doubt that they took inspiration from Backyard Monsters. However, what they did was cartoonify the game to make it a lot more appealing to a younger audience, and that would just be a massive part of its success because anyone at any age could play the game. It wasn't limited to just kids or just adults. And if you look at a lot of the other super popular games out there, then we can see a similar pattern. And let's use Minecraft as a big example. This game is really like the Clash of Clans of the PC and console world because of how revolutionary it is. And the reason for that is because it was different from the other games on the market, and it also appealed to everyone. This was a cartoony type game without any sort of realistic graphics. However, it will still appeal to all ages and didn't limit anyone, and that is a major part of why it was so successful. And another similar game is also Fortnite, but let's go back to Clash of Clans. Clash of Clans will be very different in presentation when compared to Backyard Monsters, since everything was much more simple and more visually appealing in my opinion. Plus, it was on mobile, meaning it didn't really even compete with Backyard Monsters. And overall, this is really what would make it so popular. It was a unique mobile game that was appealing to a broad audience. But obviously, the most important part would be the gameplay, and that is just what made this game so special and so unique at the time. There were two main parts to the game, with the first one being to build up your village, and the second being to attack other villages. To simplify the gameplay loop, you just attacked other players and build up your base. It was pretty simple on a surface level, and that would make it such a fun game. The goal of the game was to just build up and progress to higher town hall levels, because you will then unlock more troops and defenses, and those will go and tie back to the original gameplay loop to make the game more interesting and just feeling more fresh. This was a perfect loop to just get people hooked, and it offered way more than a lot of the other mobile games out there, since this game actually contained true progression. In other games, you would just have levels where maybe it would get a little harder, or you would unlock a few other things. However, with Clash of Clans, the progression was just much more, and you unlocked way more, so that the Town Hall 2 experience would be way different from the Town Hall 8 experience, and that just wasn't something that existed in a majority of other mobile games, since they were more or less the same no matter how long you played them. And that is what would also keep people coming back to Clash of Clans, and is why Clash of Clans was regarded so highly, because it just wasn't a game you could simply forget because there is nothing else like it. And a really key part of the game was that it took time to upgrade things, and this could last from a few minutes up to around 2 weeks, and it would really just depend on what you were upgrading and what level. But this was really what would make people excited for the game, because it was just something to look forward to. Like if you knew you had a hero or troop upgrade or something finishing during the school day, then you just couldn't wait to get back home to be able to play the game and start the next upgrade and just play with your newly leveled troop or hero. And something similar and even more important will be when the Clan Wars came out, since that is just what brought everyone together. I know that Clan Wars would really be like a huge deal and everyone would be looking forward to getting their attacks done after school. And a lot of people were also in clans with their friends, so it almost just became like a tradition for everyone to plan out their attacks together and figure out who was doing what, and it really was just a special time for many people, and that is truly one of the biggest impacts the game has ever had, and it is something that no other mobile game has really managed to replicate. And we can look at Brawl Stars, which is probably bigger than Clash of Clans when it comes to player count and revenue, and see that it still isn't exactly as famous. Brawl Stars is a great game and it will be bigger than Clash of Clans if it isn't already, however it doesn't have the same nostalgia as Clash of Clans, and this could very well be because the game is a lot newer. However, I just don't think that Brawl Stars really has the right game mechanics to invoke the same feelings as what Clash of Clans did, but I don't know, maybe it's because I'm just older now and the gaming scene isn't how it was when Clash of Clans was around. And this does bring me to the overall impact of Clash of Clans, since the timing of the game is what will help make it so special. We've obviously talked about how it was unique from the other games at the time, but that is just such an important factor to consider. When you think about Clash of Clans, you just think of how revolutionary it was, and this is just something that is hard for games to pull off now, seeing how advanced the mobile game industry has gotten, and just how it seems like there's a game in every genre. I mean, even Brawl Stars isn't like super unique or anything. It's just a shooter game in which you can play solo or play with others, and I mean that is one of the oldest game models and something that has been around for ages. The thing that made Brawl Stars popular was just how they made the brawlers unique and just made something for everyone. However, the game itself wasn't extremely revolutionary. And don't get me wrong, it's a great game, however it just is nowhere near as special as Clash of Clans in my opinion. In order for there to be another game like Clash of Clans, it will truly have had to have just changed the whole gaming industry, or at least created a whole new niche or genre and just expand what people thought was possible. Clash of Clans did that by making it much more complex and in that game that wasn't supposed to just be played when you were bored. Instead, it was supposed to compete with a lot of bigger PC and console games, and it did that very well. And we can also just see how it was so special because we're coming up on its 12-year anniversary, and that is just an incredible feat for any game in general, not just mobile games, though that factor does just make it even crazier. There are very few games that can last this long while still being very popular, and Clash of Clans making it this far just shows truly how special it was, since it has kept hundreds of millions of players coming back to the game for over a decade. So overall, one massive reason why another game will never be able to be like Clash of Clans is just because it is very hard to provide the same sense of togetherness and nostalgia that Clash of Clans provided with things like upgrade times and clan wars. And another big reason is simply just because Clash of Clans came out at a time where the mobile gaming industry wasn't very advanced, and it was just so revolutionary that it had such a massive impact, and I don't know if that can be replicated in today's environment. But that's it for this video. I really do hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next one.